What's up, guys? It's Tom from Chalking Fitness. I am just coming into the second week, so it's the seventh training session of Adam Klink's Run Fast and Squat Heavy program. It's a 10-week program. I just wanted to jump on a video because I think I want to try and document it to some extent. I'm not going to document every session, I'm not going to document every week, but I'm doing it to try and keep myself accountable. If it inspires others, that's great. Big disclaimer, I'm not a coach. So don't take any of this as something that you can apply to yourself, but it gives a little insight into the things I'm thinking about. I think even an everyday athlete like myself, or even an everyday participant, if you want to get into that debate, can and if they want, should think about really what they're doing. So why am I doing this program? Well, first of all, not only seeing what Adam Klink achieved by squatting 500 pounds and running a sub 5 minute mile in the same day. We've also seen Fergus Crawley go on to do that as well. It's showing kind of like what can be attainable through kind of cross training. You don't need to be a specialist to have near elite level, if not elite level performance. That's really inspiring. I was also really fortunate to talk to Adam Klink himself, and he really broke it down, and it was like intentional training. And that's something that I think I need right now. Really need to feel like the effort that I put in, day out, whether that be in the gym, at home, rehab, mobility is all working towards a goal. So I'm really excited by that. Now, being able to run fast and squat heavy in itself is a nice goal to have. But for me, it's more than that. I'm really hoping for some kind of carryover, for some transfer to CrossFit. I'm not a competitor, but I sure would like to be better at it. So I'm hoping that kind of building both that kind of like strength and power from the squat, but also building that kind of sustained endurance at a high percentage of VO2 max will be like kind of beneficial to kind of my CrossFit. And I'm sure it will. With that in mind, before I go into details of kind of like my benchmarking of the 1 mile run and the kind of 1 RM back squat, I just want to break out to a video I did do before I started the program, so just over a week and a half ago, where I benchmarked the CrossFit workout Helen to try and understand whether I could kind of improve that at all. So I'll switch to that video now. We are coming towards the end of the second week of prep for the Adam Klink 10-week running and squatting program. That being looking at trying to improve my mile time and my squatting. For me, it's going to be all about trying to improve my mile time, really. I lack gears when it comes to running. I'm more of a mule than a racehorse. I can sprint if I know the end's in sight and I've not got to do anything else. And I can run, not for days, but I can run for an extended period of time, but at a kind of like 1 hour, 10K kind of pace. I want to have quicker gears, faster gears even for workouts. You know, I want to be able to push a 400. I want to be able to push an 800. So what I decided to do was to, before we start the 10-week program, is to benchmark with a couple of named workouts. And today I've done Helen. Helen is 3 rounds of time of a 400-meter run or sprint. It's a run in my case. 21 kettlebell swings at 1.5 pood or 24 kilos and 12 pull-ups. So I've just done that. That's why I'm looking sweaty. It's a hot, humid day here in the UK in August. And I wanted to break it down a little bit for my own benefit, and I thought I'd share it with you as a little bit of accountability. So I was probably a little slower than I would have been, although realistically probably not, because I took my splits as I went round. And what I just want to draw to you is really looking at the run splits and then the kind of kettlebell and pull-up splits. What I can see is that for all 3 rounds, my kettlebell and pull-ups were done in about 1 minute and 20 seconds. I was a little bit faster on the final round, probably because I didn't hang around, kind of picking up the kettlebell and kind of jumping straight up onto the bar and getting through those 12 pull-ups any which way. I was really pleased actually that both the kettlebell swings and the pull-ups were all unbroken throughout. So for me, it's about making sure I move quickly into those movements rather than kind of needing to kind of like do them unbroken, because I'm already doing that. But let's look at the run in more detail, because that's where I want to make improvements. So my first 400 meters was in about 2 minutes. I noted the split as I came in. The second one was in 2:20, unsurprising, one time gassed. and I have to go out on a run, I'm kind of just in like recovery mode, damage limitation mode, and then that's even more prevalent in the final round at 240, even though it's the final round and you should be kind of like opening the tank. I was like eyes half closed, nearly getting run over by the Sainsbury's delivery van. So this is what I've got right now. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what I can improve on, kind of running 3 times a week, squatting twice a week for 10 weeks. So what you can see from that video is I really point out that running is somewhere that I believe I can improve. So I'm really keen to kind of like see hopefully some benefit from doing this 10-week program into that Helen time. Yes, I'm doing the movements unbroken already, but the ability to push that run harder, get that run time kind of under 2 minutes, if not kind of 1:45, and still be able to go unbroken without any rest would be kind of a real achievement for me. Bit of kind of disclosure, I did also try to benchmark Fran, because I thought that was a good example of kind of like opening the kind of the can, lighting the fuse, whatever you want to call it, just sending it. I kind of like was mentally beaten by that before I started, so it wasn't kind of like representative of where I am. Just to kind of let you know, I like to get my Fran time below 5 minutes. It's something I really struggle with. I'm not great at kind of just like holding on. So we'll see whether this helps with that as well. But anyway, let's take a look at the actual tests. So week 1, day 1, we tested the mile run. And what I actually managed to achieve, and I was really pleased with this because I'd been doing some running beforehand to kind of prep the legs, is I managed a standing mile of 6.5 minutes, which I'm really pleased with. I did have a rolling mile in that same session of 6:29, and that's because I ran just over a mile by the time I'd kind of slowed down. And so what that kind of showed is that I'd got, my speed is not kind of consistent. You've obviously got to get going at the beginning, but I also had like kind of a slow patch in the middle. On record, looking at kind of my like Strava times, I've got a rolling mile of 6:23 in there somehow. So for me, that's saying like, I've got sub 6:30 in me. I'm actually going to target, and what my program's going to be looking for is 6 minutes, which I think is perhaps like a really ambitious target. Having started to run some kind of 400-meter intervals at 6-minute mile, it's going to be tough, but I'm excited to kind of have that in that kind of like target. Looking at the way my run looked, I had like we've got kind of 6:30s here, and it kind of averaged out at that, and I had some slower points. It's not drawn particularly well, but I started faster than 6:30 and I definitely finished well above 6:30, but I was slower in the middle. So what I want to try and build is that kind of like that gearing that I can hold like a sub 6:30, if not 6-minute mile, by bringing up the speed in the middle of that and sustaining it throughout, and still hopefully finishing strong. So that's the 1 mile run. 1RM back squat, tested that last week, and I hit 147 kilos. My lifetime PB is a sketchy 150, and I've only ever hit that once, but I don't think I've really squatted above 130, if not one. I've definitely not squatted above 120 in the last year, and I've not squatted above 130 since kind of 2017, because I just don't do like heavy squatting in any kind of like workouts or programming. If you look at kind of 1RM tables, whatever your 1RM is, again, I've just pulled this from tables. I'm not telling you this is like a coach or anything. You want to have a 3RM that's about 95% of your 1RM, a 5RM that's about 90%, and then your 10RM should realistically be about 75% based on the tables that I've just found on the internet, which kind of gives you kind of like a drop off as you kind of go up in reps. And realistically, I think because I lack that kind of like heavy squatting in any programming for like the last kind of like couple of years, I think really my line is more kind of drops off, so really I should be able to kind of like, I should have a 10 RM of around like 115-ish, I think. And I think I'd struggle to get a 10 RM at 100 right now because I just don't have that familiarity. So I think the focus for me, and really it'll benefit my CrossFit more, is to kind of like bring this part of it up by kind of spending. It's going to be the program itself that makes me stronger. Looking at the program, there's a lot of kind of like 5RM, not 5RM, but like 5x5 work. So I'm going to be getting more familiar with squatting at the kind of like the 100, the 110 mark, which I think will be really good for me in building that kind of that base foundation. If my 1RM squat goes up in the process, that's fantastic. It would be nice to kind of creep it up towards kind of the 155 if I can. But I've been squatting a long time, as much as I haven't been squatting heavy recently. So I'm under no illusion that I'm not going to see massive kind of gains, but it's going to be really interesting to kind of consistently kind of squat for 10 weeks. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'll probably check in with you around the halfway point, maybe benchmark Helen halfway through. But I'm really excited, as I said already, to kind of like jump into a structured programming with some real goals and intent. It's something that I've often lacked. You know, I train for longevity, I train for enjoyment, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't be kind of setting goals. And the running and the squatting both feel like things that I can. I'm not hindered by, say, mechanics too much, although my mobility could always be better. So it really means I can like try and put in the grit and improve like my capacity and my strength. I've already booked in some kind of sports massages with one of the physios that I know. Not because I'm planning to get injured, but because I want to make sure I don't get injured with this degree of running, this capacity of running and squatting. So kind of taking it a bit serious, and I will let you know how it goes. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll catch you in 5 weeks. Cheers.